You're live, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Morning, everybody. Welcome to the morning meeting of the only meeting. I'll put that in the only meeting today of the Oversight Committee on Personnel for Appropriations on Friday, March 12th. So welcome back. I've just touching base from the last meeting, at the end of the last meeting, everyone has received the amendments from the Senate. I hope everyone's had a chance to go through them. I'm going to start going through them now with the help of June to kind of give everybody a quick rundown of what the agreement was and deal. And before I go into that, I will mention that the Community College Association and the members have pulled their opposition from it with these amendments and with this deal. So this is going to conform our bill, the House version, to the Senate version of this community college collective bargaining bill. So going into that, the amendment number 1 of the agreement, technical language, and sets up the dialogue and the implementation for delayed implementation dates, which goes into amendment 2. That changes some technical language in the beginning and then goes into explaining the delayed implementation and setting up 2 delayed categories. Category 1, and this is on page 2, beginning on September 1st, 2022, and it lists the larger community colleges that will have a 1-year delayed implementation date. Then towards the bottom of page 2, it then lists the smaller colleges around the state and goes to page 3. But these schools in category 2 have a 2-year delayed implementation date. So related to concerns about, 1, this is just enabling, but the concern of having to deal with potential revenue or cost effects right away is now delayed. So while this bill would pass for the smaller schools, it would take 2 years to be implemented, and then it would take a year for the larger schools for it to be implemented and take effect. At the bottom of that list, listing the last small community college on page 3, it goes into discussing that they have reduced the 6 collective bargaining units to 4, which I believe addresses, at least begins to address some of the issues that I believe Delegate McKay had. So where his amendment wanted to move it to 3, this reduces it to 4 and also identifies the collective, well, this is in the bill, but it's not in the amendment, identifies that there are 4 collective bargaining units. 1 is for full time staff or faculty, 1 is for part-time, and the other 2 are left open for non-exempt employees. So that piece reduces the number of collective bargaining units. On the rest of page 3 and on the rest of page 3, it starts changing all of the October 1st, 2021 effective dates to September 1st, 2022, just following through with the delayed implementation date across making everything formative to what the intent was. Moving to page 4, at the beginning, so this is, I think this was some of the issues related to cost, especially in the beginning from some of the other members and some of the amendments that were going to be brought up yesterday. This basically takes wages off the table until 2024. So while you can collectively bargain hours and other conditions of employment, this will take off the discussion of wages until 2024, which I think, in my opinion, definitely alleviate some of that concern too, even after the implementation date of the financial effect on certain community college, especially the small ones, that even if they do choose to collectively bargain, which they may not, would help reduce that until 2024. In the middle of page 4, it starts under on page 17 on line 1. This is mandated appropriation to cover costs resulting from negotiations for BCCC. This is one, I know that there's been discussion in our committee about BCCC. There's been separate bills about it. This section begins to address the fact that BCCC is run by the state, organized, funded. So if there are cost concerns, this mandates that anything that results from negotiations, the costs will have to be covered through the next year's budget. Under amendment number 4, this was I believe this was an AFSCME request. It deals with implementation, and then it complies with statutes already exist. So this was just the line to make sure that what's being done here complies with and comes into line with things that are already on the books related to collective bargaining and statute for the state. On page 5, we get to section 3. Okay, so page 5 through page 6. This all deals with Baltimore City Community College. And June, actually, I put a note here and then I put brackets in, but if you'd like to take that last piece.
Absolutely. It's mostly just technical drafting language that deals with the special sections whenever you have delayed implementation. So that's just what you see happening at the bottom of 5 into 6. It's really just technical, just to set up that, again, that 3-year delayed effective date for BCCC. So that was a very thorough explanation, Mr. Chairman.
So with that in mind, I would like to move the amendment and then continue discussion. And also, if there's anyone else that would like to still submit amendments to the bill, happy to. I'd like to move the amendment.
Move the amendment.
Second.
And discussion on the amendment from folks. No discussion. All in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? See none. And with that, I'll open it up for any other amendments, but also discussion about amendments and things from yesterday that weren't discussed. Any discussion? Yes, Delegate Kittleman.
I still don't like what comes out of HB 52, but it's going to go, I know. However, I think that the reason that this bill has been brought forward as it has been explained is to prevent community colleges from going out and hiring an entity to fight a union. Is that reasonably true?
Is the question that these amendments were adopted to prevent a union from, or excuse me, prevent a community college from hiring an outside organization to prevent?
Right.
Not these amendments, but we have heard.
No, I didn't say amendments. I'm sorry, I was on the bill.
Oh, the bill. Well, I'd say that I don't. June, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see anything in the whole bill that.
No, I know it's not in there. It just, that was the discussion. Anyway,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, true or not, I would like to see an amendment in there that says specifically that the meaning of spend public funds does not mean salaries of the people who work there.
Got it. And I know that what was, and that wasn't an amendment that was drafted up. Was that one that you had sent, or was that?
Yeah.
It was one. Do we have it?
You should. I don't have it in front of me. I had the number yesterday, but.
Oh, good. No worries. Let me just.
We received it.
Okay, good. Sorry.
Delegate Kittleman, you forwarded it.
And I guess I'm really asking for a judgment on the part of the drafters, whether or not that is something that would be clarifying or would be changing the bill. What was intended.
What I would say in response to that is that provision was not intended to prohibit the board or the community college from hiring whatever third parties they need to help them with the negotiations, but rather the intent of that provision is just to ensure that they're not influencing employees towards one employee organization over another. So it's really, I think, intended to sort of establish a neutral sense so that, that they're unbiased towards like one particular organization or the other.
And thanks for the reminder, Delegate Kittleman and June. I also think this has been drafted multiple years, and this year we did pass a bill that addresses this, and I know that you've had your own concerns with it because it was Delegate Lukey's bill. where we believe and I believe it's leveling the playing field because it's already in statute that you can't support the creation of one. There was nothing preventing public funds from deterring the use. And I think this was drafted not thinking about a bill passing that would address that separately, which we've passed. And honestly, with that bill passing, this language is almost redundant, where it's already going to be, could
Right.
potentially be statute.
But I still would like an understanding, because what June said is something that was new to me. I don't clearly understand what the bill, even 52, is intended to prevent. I mean, if the president of the college and the administration can talk to their employees about a union coming in and do the kinds of things that are permitted under the NLRA, I'm fine. But if they are now, prevented from even talking to employees, that really would upset me. Well, so,
And I don't think that's going to prevent them from talking to employees. But and just to clarify too, and I'm sorry, I just want HB 52 is which?
it's the one that sets that it actually puts that provision into law.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so I know we're talking about amendments, and you offered it yesterday, and we're taking it up now. Would you like to make a motion on it?
Yes, I'd like to move that motion to
And is there a
include.
second?
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Go, sorry. Go.
I
Sorry,
second it.
Second. All right, and discussion. And I know we started the discussion already. Go ahead, Delegate Kilman, if you want to.
All it does is clarify that spending public money does not include salaries of the people who work at the community colleges.
Understood.
That's all it says. I don't know. June, do you have have it in front of you?
Yes, let me
We have-
pull it up. Hold on, and then
I will, and other discussion, members.
Oh, I've got it. I'm sorry. It says, and this is all of it, for purposes of this subsection, public money and public resources do not include the salaries of employees of the state, county, or municipal corporation.
So, and I'll say, and just, I believe it's just informing members. I mean, it's already on the books that no public money can be used, or workers can't campaign on public time or on their dime to support a union or creation of that. I mean, publicly do that already. It's already disputed. I think that it's already being addressed, but I understand that the point of the amendment. So I would ask the subcommittee to resist it. Is there any other discussion on the amendment?
Mr. Chair, I would just second what you were saying. I think it might be a little redundant if for some reason, council or further analysis strikes that we need it. But I think at this point, I mean, it seems pretty clear to me what the intent of that is. So I would second your comment.
Gotcha. Any other?
I just wonder.
Delegate McKay. Oh, sorry. Delegate McKay, and then I'll go back to Delegate Kilman.
I was just going to say that regardless of it being redundant or what, it's obviously not clear in our minds that is not prohibiting them to do that. And so clarity is important, especially in a bill like this. And accepting this amendment would, and I just speak for myself, would lend me to support the bill overall if we would have some kind of a clarity for this subject. And I understand the other side, that it's already assumed it's there, but the reality is there's a small section that doesn't believe it's very clear and believes it will prohibit those who are employed, meaning management. It'll prohibit them and have their hands tied. Thank you.
And I would say the same thing. I'd support the bill if we pass this amendment.
Can I just suggest, I mean, I don't mean to interrupt, but I haven't seen the amendment. I don't know that it's been shared. I mean, I would suggest if we want to offer that, maybe it's a full committee after we've had a chance to digest it and the council's had a chance to digest it a little bit more, but I have concerns on voting on an amendment that I haven't even seen. I know that wasn't the delegate's intent, but if we truly need that and there's clarity that needs to be provided, I would be comfortable taking something like that up at full committee, but I haven't seen the amendment.
There isn't anything more to it than what I read.
All right. So with that, had discussion, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor of the amendment, go ahead and signify by saying aye and raise your hand if you don't mind.
Raise our hand if what?
If you're in support of the amendment, go ahead and raise your hand. Delegate Kittleman, Delegate Beitzel, Delegate McKay, and Delegate Grice.
Oh, that hand. Yeah.
And all opposed? Delegate Solomon, Delegate Chang, Delegate Forbes, Delegate Corman,
Sorry.
Delegate Geraldine.
Do you need me
Thank
to
you.
vote? Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I
Do you-
got you. We got you, Delegate.
Okay.
And the chair. Motion fails. Any other amendments that'd like to be offered at this moment? Okay. On the bill as amended, is there a motion?
Motion to move the bill as amended.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, go ahead and put your hands up. Delegate Kittleman, Delegate Beitzel, Delegate Grice, and Delegate McKay. Thank you, folks. I've got you all recorded. And the motion passes. That ends the business for the subcommittee. I want to thank everybody for their patience. We've been talking about this one for a bit. And for submitting all of the amendments and the discussion leading up to them. Obviously, this is just the first step, so let's keep talking. We go to full committee and to inevitably the floor. I do want to make sure that everyone still knows, I think that we have a bill that now matches the Senate and matches concerns and agreements from the Community College Association, and look forward to keeping that in mind as we're moving. Also, I think if you don't know already, we've moved and it's already been approved that we're going to fully fund the Stellinger Fund, which I think will go a long way to one, the smaller institutions and the larger ones in dealing with any costs associated with just generally operating, and hopefully quell any fears related to costs associated with creating the process to allow our folks to collectively bargain. So with that, I'll stop monologuing. But
And Mr. Chairman, if I may,
go ahead, Delegate.
I just want to thank you for working with the minority party here on this bill. You've been very cooperative and understanding, so we appreciate the way you've handled this. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Delegate. Glad to hear.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I just also wanted to clarify for everyone too, that wages are actually not on the table for negotiations until 2024. So till July 2024, in terms of the matters that are to be negotiated in the agreements, wages are off the table. So it would only be for after the act is actually implemented, the topics for negotiation would be terms and conditions of work, as well as hours. So wages would not come into play until 2024.
And can I just say that wages is the last of my concerns. My concerns have to do with the situation and the union sets up between it separates the administration from its employees, and the work rules, I think, can be more difficult to handle than the wages.
Understood. Thanks. I want to clarify, I got all these budget things going through my head. I meant CADE. We fully funded CADE. I said Sellinger, so that way when we break today, instead of folks start telling the private institutions, we fully funded CADE. Thank you, everyone. We stand adjourned.
Well, we fully funded Sellinger as well. So
Good. You know, I just want to make sure that I'm talking about the right one. But thank you, Delegate. We're going to adjourn before I start telling everyone we funded something else that we didn't. All right, everybody. Have a good one.